You have just stepped into the Midlife Revolution, your space to ignite possibility, redefine purpose, and embrace the power that comes with age. Co-hosted by yours truly, Coach Wayne.
And I'm Coach Stacy M. Lewis, and we're two seasoned coaches focused on the midlife community of color. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. In a world that sometimes forgets the power and the wisdom that comes with age, we're here to ignite a revolution and rewrite the narrative of this incredible journey.
So, whether you're navigating career shifts, rediscovering passions, or challenging the status quo, this is your space. So buckle up. Let's dive into the midlife revolution. Good morning. It's another Tuesday, a wonderful Tuesday morning. And we're midway through the fourth month of the year already. It's the 16th day of the fourth month in the year 2024. And it means that we must be able to, at this point, gather our thoughts and our ideas and look at where we're headed and make the adjustments, because there's still time to correct and move forward to our goals. Welcome to Midlife Revolution. I am Coach Wayne Dawson, and I work as a life coach, helping men of color go through midlife to avoid what's called midlife crisis, so that at the other end, the second half, they can have the better half of their life. But I don't do this work alone. I am happy to introduce to you my co-host, the one and only, Stacy M. Lewis. Stacy, good morning.
Good morning, Coach Wayne. It is always such a great opportunity to be here. It is a beautiful day in sunny rural Pennsylvania, and I'm just excited to be alive. Good morning, Sister Janelle, who is in our listening audience. It is so good to see you and have you here. I am Stacy Lewis. I have the pleasure of serving as a nonprofit executive for a fantastic organization called Young Survival Coalition, if anybody's looking for a good charity to support. And I serve as a women's empowerment coach for the midlife community of color, looking to amplify their worth and move forward from a place of confidence. And so I'm always excited to be here with you, Coach Wayne. And I'm looking forward to our episode today, where we are talking about leveling up your confidence. Ooh, so important.
Yes, ma'am. Confidence. You know, Stacy, it's hard to define what it is. It's one of those feeling kind of things that's hard to put a finger on and objectify. But Gandhi once said that happiness is when you think what you say and what you do are in harmony. And I want to steal that for confidence too, Stacy. I think when we know that what we're saying and what we're doing is in sync and has some sort of harmony, we kind of move through the world in confidence, kind of like high stepping.
Yeah, I really like that. And to bring in Gandhi, I'm just thinking about many of the kingdom community that I'm connected with, right? And that you see out there the word Godfidence, right? That our confidence is really in our creator and who he's created us to be, and how we are walking through this world on purpose and with our God-given talents. And so it is a beautiful time to talk about confidence, Godfidence, about, that harmony that you just talked about. So important. And I think in midlife, we hit some struggles. We see out there, folks just shining. Yeah, I don't know about you, but sometimes LinkedIn feels a little bit like, I don't even know if it's Facebook, where you see a lot of the great stuff, right? Great successes, people are shining. And yet we know that there are some that we're just not hearing from. And we're not hearing from them because they are not confident in their voice to contribute to the larger LinkedIn community. And so, thinking about confidence, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's on your heart to say about confidence, and as you talk to this midlife community?
I'm about to enter into that. And thank you, Stacy. Confidence is something that oftentimes we develop. We're not born with confidence. And a lot of kids, especially the midlife generation, were raised with children should be seen and not heard. Ever heard that, Stacy?
Mm. Oh, that's good. That's good, Wayne. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I do
so,
remember that.
yeah,
I do
right.
remember
So we would be in a room, especially with adults. And as kids, we had to sort of hush as we got through our homework assignment while the parents were chatting with someone, or in an after school program, we sort of made sure we behaved ourselves, which meant we didn't have the confidence to speak our mind and speak out oftentimes. That was something that we grew up with. But today, Stacy, I want to talk about three pillars of confidence
that. Okay.
with you and our audience as we discuss in the green room. And the first is experiential confidence, Stacy. Experiential confidence. And as midlifers, that is very important because it's what we call lived experience.
Mm-hmm. Which
By
we have a
having,
lot of.
which we have a lot of,
We
absolutely.
have a lot of.
Decades of it, right? And so it's important that we call on that, because what it's really talking about, experiential confidence, is knowing that you have walked the walk. And so you know where the pitfalls are. You have experienced success along the way and trials and errors. Right,
Mm.
Stacy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can't help but go back to certainly those that know me know that uh being a lover of God and his people is part of who I am. And we talk about our faith, and the greatest testament to what God will do is what he's already done. And so you're talking about this experiential confidence. And oftentimes we forget about the successes, the things that we've achieved, the rooms that we've been in, the voice that we've shared and that has impacted others, and that experience. We forget about that. And so we then sometimes suffer with this bout of feeling less confident because we've forgotten the experience and the value of our experience, and the value it really has to the world. And so if we were to show up in that, in that room or at that party or at that networking session with that reminder inside of us of what we've already accomplished, what we've done, who we are, I think it could just be so powerful. So I love this concept of experiential confidence and really utilizing that life
Absolutely.
experience.
And as we trek through life and we make the boo boos, we cannot see the experiences that we consider failure as true failure unless we just stop it right there.
Right.
The idea that we see those efforts, those trials, the tribulations, to turn them into triumphs, we have to take it as feedback. That's part of the experiential confidence that we have as older folk, so to speak. Another pillar, Stacy, is emotional confidence. And some might ask what that is. And emotional confidence is really feeling the fear or the emotion,
Mm.
but acting through it anyway. Now, everybody goes through the fears of challenges, of uncertainties, of not feeling worthy enough, not be feeling good enough, prepared enough, being too tall, too short, too fat, too thin, too black, too white. But the truth is, those emotions are part of the creation that we have here, the internal dialogue, right? The mindset. And Stacy, we talked about the uh, body mind relationship,
Mm-hmm.
where physiologically emotion is motion experienced outwardly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I coach folks along the way with in terms of emotional confidence is learning to identify. And Stacy, I'd love if you could speak more on this, where the feeling is and acting nonetheless towards a stature of confidence. Act like you kind of like fake it till you make it.
Well, I think the reality is that confidence is not an external shift. It's not something that happens externally that we're looking to move or change. Confidence is that internal shift. And when you think about an internal shift, somewhere in you, you feel it. And so if I were to put myself in the position, right? Even the mental emotional position of walking into a networking session and that feeling of maybe it's confidence, maybe it's not, maybe it's questioning whether I belong, maybe it's questioning whether my voice will be heard, whatever that feeling is, that questioning, somewhere in you, you feel it. In coaching, and I'm sure in therapy and other sectors, they call it embodiment. It is in you somewhere. Many of us are familiar with the saying of butterflies in our stomach, right? Like we feel that nervousness, and oftentimes we literally feel it in our stomach. Sometimes you talk about the stress and you feel it in your shoulders. Well, confidence is the same. It is an internal experience. And so where do you feel that lack of confidence, if that's what it is? Is it in your chest? Is it in your hands? Do you find yourself clenching your hands? Is it in your shoulders? Do you find yourself kind of slouching down as opposed to standing up tall? And so the idea of embodiment is to, let's just recognize where something is in us, how we're experiencing, in this case, confidence or lack thereof, so that we can begin to really address what we need to do to make that shift, that internal shift, not the external shift. I'm sure many of us would go to the confidence store if we could, but it is an internal shift, one that we all have to just pay attention to and make on a regular basis.
Yeah, yeah. I like to think when people are getting up to go to the bathroom, instead of walking like they're going to the outhouse, they ought to walk like they're going to the White House, right?
Okay.
Stand tall and walk briskly like you're about purpose. That's part of the emotional confidence. Stacey, we oftentimes see folk both online and in person having conversations, and they make themselves small, right? And part of that is, if you hold yourself in and make yourself small, you actually feel small. But if you spread out and open up your chest, as you say, take deep breath and
Mm-hmm.
kind of occupy your space, it projects confidence. And people have more empathy with you when you're confident and feel like they have to relate to you as a person that's moving with confidence.
Yes, yes, indeed. And what I find is that we often don't pay attention to what we're feeling on the inside, whether it be what we're thinking, those ants, those automatic negative thoughts, or whether it be what we're feeling. We don't pay attention to that. We step out into situations and we forget to pay attention to ourselves. And I think if we can even do that more, even at this stage of the game, in this season, right? And going back to your first point of remembering our successes, remembering the experiences that we've had that really feed into who we are now, and how we can turn that into a higher level of emotional confidence, I think would benefit us all.
Absolutely. So number one is experiential. Number two is emotional. And the third pillar of confidence is self-esteem. Now, self-esteem gets a bad rap. Sometimes people think, oh, high self-esteem means arrogance. No, self-esteem is really about identity. It's how you feel, and it's about our self-ideal, our self-concept, self-image, right? All of these packaged to make what comes out ultimately as how you feel about yourself, self-esteem.
Right.
And self-esteem truly is about high self-esteem when it comes to confidence is about not having a broken sense of self. For people of color, and I tell the brothers this all the time, don't have anyone determine who you are. Take that pen and create the narrative, state who you are, and state it with emphasis. That's about self-esteem and confidence, Stacy.
Yes. And earlier we talked a little bit about identity. It is knowing who you are and being able to uh, embody that again and acknowledge that none of us are perfect. So making sure that in our self-esteem journey that we're not comparing ourselves to others out there, others in the networking space, others on LinkedIn, others on Facebook or wherever it is, others in the boardroom, that we are not comparing ourselves, that we are looking at ourselves authentically, with a level of compassion and in a way that, to your earlier point, acknowledges our experiences, that has recognized internally where the shifts are needed, where we're making those shifts on an ongoing basis, right? You don't just make the shift and then it's done. We're totally confident now, that it is indeed a process. And just like that, self-esteem is that reminder of who you are, your identity, your value, talents, worth that you have to contribute, and embodying all of that in a way that states your presence wherever you are.
Yes, ma'am. And if you're a 40-year-old or approaching there or 50s or 60s, how dare someone define you? You have had
Right.
enough time on the planet and walk through to say, I am, and say that with
Yes.
assertion.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I am. Yes. I am here. I am worth being here. I am valuable, and my voice deserves to be heard.
Absolutely. And so the question might be for our midlifers, Stacey, is how do we build confidence, right? How do we build confidence? And one of the ways that I think folk can build confidence is by stepping into their uncertain zone or stepping out
Mm.
of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
Step out of your
Mhm.
comfort zone, right? We talked about
Mhm.
feel the fear and do it anyway. Stepping
Yes.
out.
Yes. 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 Step out. Like you said, sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. I don't know about you, Wayne, but I can't say I always show up with the highest level of confidence. I have shown up in rooms and likely will continue to show up in rooms, in spaces where that inside of me is like, "Woo, this is a bit much," or "Do I belong here?" or "I'm not feeling really confident right now." But the mind says, "Sis, fake it. Come on, pull it together. Fake it till you make it. Step out of your comfort zone and show your presence. Show yourself right in this moment to be present and worthy of being here." I don't know about you, Wayne, but sometimes that fake it till you make it is all you got.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there is knowing your worth, Stacy. Knowing your worth. I talk about the Paul syndrome, and part of that is apart from not thinking things is possible for you or that you don't have the ability, it's feeling the sense of worthiness
Mhm.
or worthlessness. And you got to just know your worth.
You have to know your worth. Uh, you know, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have a purpose here on this earth, and that purpose can only be fulfilled by you. And so that value is so priceless. And so often, I think, as people of color in particular, we are kind of trained and exposed to so much negative thinking about who we are solely because of the color of our skin. It's sometimes difficult to shake that off. And this knowing, this really standing in who you are and your worth is critical. And for me, many of the women I work with, my signature framework is move, and the M is for magnify your worth. It is the first step for us, I think, as women, and in particular in this midlife journey, right, where youth is lauded, and sometimes you're feeling like, who's really looking at me and seeing my value? If we don't see our value first, no one else is going to see it. So it is critical to know your worth. And I just really encourage us as people, in the LinkedIn setting, Facebook, whatever, social network, and even in-person networks, is to just continue to lift up each other, right? To pull out that worth in each other. Hey, Wayne, you seem to be someone that is really interested in speaking to people and lifting them up. I just really want to acknowledge that in you, right? Just lifting up each other and amplifying our worth is so critical. Sorry, I could go on and on about that one.
Yeah, but you can't, because we're 7 minutes away from touchdown. But thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Dr. Audrey, for joining. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Stacy, embracing change, right? A lot of times at midlife, we're kind of saying, and I trust me, I am guilty of that myself.
Mm.
As guru like as I want to pretend to be in terms of helping folks through that, I deal with the issue sometimes of saying, it's difficult. Change is difficult, and we have to embrace it. That means continuous learning
Yeah.
and being open to new ideas and thinking.
I couldn't agree with you more. It really is connecting with the realities of change, right? I don't know if you remember that old song by Donny Hathaway. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. And so knowing that, right, is to me another reason to embrace it. That is the reality. Everything is going to change, including us. I don't know about you, but I was wishing that, I had the eyebrows that I had when I was 30, but I don't, because everything must change. And I encourage people to embrace change. It is critical. Critical.
Thank you. And the last one, regarding that we have time for today, actually, just regarding, and folks, reminding you that you can reach out to Stacy and I for discovery calls to learn more about these principles, how we take through our clients to help them in areas such as this and others in
Mm-hmm.
midlife. Stay on to the very end and you'll see our contacts. And the last one, Stacy, before we give folks their call to actions, is being present. Now, what does being present mean? Being present really means being in the here and now. A lot of times when we are thinking about midlife, we're thinking way in advance of the future, which for a lot of us, we can barely see. And so, because we can't see it, we lose faith. We don't have the vision that far. And so, we don't want to believe and we don't have the confidence. But if we're in the here and now taking care of today's business, it helps us to shape confidence. So, I would say to folk, be present, be intentional.
Yeah, this very moment is the gift. And that is why they call it the present. That we can so often find ourselves in the mindset of, well, what about tomorrow? Or what I didn't do yesterday? Or what am I going to do in 2 hours? But it is so critical that we are always present with each other in intimate relationship, in professional relationship, in blossoming relationship. It is so important that we are present, that our physical presence, yes, is there, but that our visual presence, our verbal presence, our emotional presence is there, is in the here and now, so that we can really identify opportunities for growth, for moving forward, for new possibilities. So I love that being present is really the fourth take action kind of step.
Absolutely. I'm just doing a quick time check. We have 4 minutes. And, in rounding up, and Stacy, as always, I'll give you the last word, but the call to actions for folks that are listening in today, if you're on this midlife journey and confidence is one of those things that you're worried about, young people are knocking you off the block, as it were, and you're worried about old age, it's time to step into your confidence. And the call to action, one, keep learning, keep an open mind, keep learning. You're never too old, it's never too late to learn. So keep learning. Another thing that you ought to do, I would say, is to celebrate wins, even the small ones.
Critical.
Right? Audrey and I have this gratitude ritual that we do every day. We simply just speak to each other about the things that we're grateful for. It starts your day off in a positive note or ends your day in a positive note. Just being confident about the things around you and who you are, the gifts, as you said, being present.
I love it.
And another one is, Stacy, faith, insurmountable faith. And you're definitely always reminding everyone about the faith in something, someone greater than yourself, God, your creator. Having faith is important in terms of confidence, because that lets you know that you're not alone on this journey, right?
Yes. And I just want to emphasize that when we were talking in the green room, you said passionate faith.
Passionate faith.
And that is that belief without doubt. I loved it. So I just wanted to make sure that people had an opportunity to hear that. It's passionate faith, just really being passionate about the possibilities and about the belief in yourself, in your creator, and your ability to make meaningful impact in this world.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. That passion makes a difference, right? Being moved. And this is one we couldn't escape, Stacy. Seek expert advice, as in moi and you, right? We are coaches, trained coaches who are certified to come in and work with you. But you can seek therapists, you can seek your pastor, you can seek your imam, you can seek, but not your girlfriend or your boy at the club, right?
Right.
It's a whole different thing.
Right. I got great girlfriends. Let me be clear. They are great, great, great. And sometimes they will deliver a level of accountability. But I think the difference is that you want someone that can start to really ask you the challenging questions, that start to dig deep on the inside, not in ways that are triggering unless you really, have dealt with some trauma and you need to see a therapist. But ask questions and dig deep in ways that cause you to see more about who you are, how you are showing up, and where your opportunity to make those internal shifts are. So thank you for pointing that out, Wayne. This has been truly a great episode. I'm always enjoying talking to you. Our hope is that our listening and viewing audience have really enjoyed the conversation. Please, if you catch the replay, check us out. leave comments. We really want to hear from you and engage. Thank you to those of us that were kind enough to join us live. We know that you have busy lives, but our hope is that we were able to share some nugget that blessed you, that helped encourage you, that let you know that it's not too late, that there's still possibility. So until we see each other again, have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you, Stacy. And there you have it, folks. This week's episode of the Midlife Revolution. Hey, we truly appreciate you spending this time in this space with us. Join us next week at the same time as we dive into relevant topics and present solutions to spark new thinking and empower your midlife journey.
Don't forget, if today's episode resonated with you, share your thoughts and suggest topics in the comments. And of course, remember to subscribe, share, like, and hit that notification bell. You are the Midlife Revolution. I'm Coach Stacy, and I'm cheering you on.
And I'm Coach Wayne, and I'll see you at the top.